So Elizabeth Warren is calling for the military to help combat climate change. Okay, so what is she calling for specifically? Let's take a look. We're going to Elizabeth Warren. We talked about her Fox News decision yesterday and how I don't think that's a good decision. I know some of you agreed, some of you kind of thought, well, but yeah, I don't. It's not a good decision. If you're trying to run for president, it's not a good decision to start saying you're not going to do town halls on one of the largest networks in the world. It's not a good decision. So anyway, we don't need to rehash all that. Let's look at what she's doing in regards to bringing in the military on climate change. All right. Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren outlined a plan on Wednesday that would have the Defense Department take steps to combat climate change and would entail non-combat U.S. bases to significantly curtail their carbon emissions over the next decade. All right, I think that's a good thing. The Massachusetts senator said climate change is real, worsening. Well, that's good. That's really good. All right. The Massachusetts. It's insane that this is still a discussion. This is still a discussion. She had to have that qualifier there. And I'm not singling out Elizabeth Warren. I mean, all elected officials, you have to have that qualifier there. We haven't, again, because our Overton window is freaking down the street that way. If I'm the rest of the industrialized world, our Overton window is somewhere down the street that way. You have to point that out. Yeah, climate change is real. Anyway. Climate change is already impacting the way the Pentagon operates. Its training, equipment, supply chains, construction, maintenance, and deployments. More and more, accomplishing the mission depends on our ability to continue operations in the face of floods, drought, wildfires, and desertification. Miss Warren's announcement comes as former Vice President Joseph R. Biden, another 2020 contender, is facing criticism from the left for not being aggressive enough on environmental issues. Criticism, Mr. Biden said, is unfounded. Really, Joe? Really? Your middle-of-the-road approach? You don't know why anyone would criticize that? Your middle ground? We got to find middle ground. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like all the above. That's what that sounds like. And what did all the above end up being? Drill, baby, drill. That's what it ended up being. So what's your middle ground approach going to end up being? Drill, baby, drill. Middle ground just refers to how far down you want to go when you're fracking. We're going to compromise. We're going to go just to the middle. They actually can't do. They have to go further. But yeah, it's play on words. What I was going for. There's going to be someone in the comments anyway. It's like, well, actually, that's not how fracking works. You have to go deep down into the shale. And I have a got you moment. So now I can orgasm. So, whatever. Have fun. It was just a play on words. But anyway, all right. Miss Warren said that consistent with the objectives of the Green New Deal, the Pentagon should achieve net zero carbon emissions for non-combat bases and infrastructure by 2030. And there's her face. Just zooming in on her. Why do they do this? And like just this pointless photo montage. There's Nancy. Look, she's like, we're capitalists. That's the way it is. That's what she's saying. And so this is just someone's badge. Border agents spend less than, all right. So there's Kelsey Grammer. What's he up to? He's conservative. We know that about him. And there's a Chevy thing behind him. There's Elizabeth Warren's face. Just her face. There's Elizabeth. It's just, what's the point of it? It's just her face. There's Kristen Gillibrand. She's eyeing out her target for the next stapler. And there's Nancy. All right, we've come full circle to Nancy Pelosi. All right. She also said she would ask contractors that haven't achieved those levels of emissions to pay a fee of 1% of the total value of the contract, with that money going towards investing in military infrastructure. Ms. Warren also said she would direct the defense secretary to appoint a senior official within the... What the fuck? All right, yeah, you'd have to... All right, there we go. That's cool. Click to read more and view comments. Okay. Other parts of the plan would entail providing new money for a 10-year research and development program at the Defense Department focused on microgrids and advanced energy storage, and having the Pentagon produce an annual report evaluating the climate vulnerability of U.S. military bases. We don't have to choose between a green military and an effective one, Ms. Warren said. Together, we can work with our military to fight climate change and win. Well, I would love to see the military acting on climate change as opposed to, spreading war and destruction around the world. I would much rather see that. I think a lot of people would. So I think it should go beyond just greening the military. That's a good thing, too. Let's do that, of course. But let's also go a step further and maybe reinvest the resources of our military into a cause for good of the planet as opposed to endless war. I know. We can't do that. Why? Because we built an economy around war. We have an economy built around war, which is set up to fail, which is unsustainable, which is morally repulsive at every level. That doesn't even need to be pointed out, but I did anyway. And it will fail. So maybe, just maybe, if we really do have a progressive revolution in this country, if we really do have a big shift in our politics, we can start going in that direction. But we're still a long way off. And we get further away from that, not closer.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and